Personal trainers and fitness coaches, you most likely don't have a lead problem, believe it or not. Now, I can't tell you the amount of times that I've seen personal trainers and online fitness coaches who are not making sales online, they're not getting clients, yet they have thousands of people in their audience in front of them. So that just goes to show that getting more leads and more volume is not the problem. Because what happens is if you 10x your following, then people are just entering into a broken system that you haven't even fixed in the first place. So most coaches, they don't have a plan for that moment where someone actually follows them. And they're so obsessed with the vanity metrics, the attention, right? Getting the followers, getting the likes. And they don't have a clue what to do after that point, right? Personally, I would rather have a video of that gets 40 views, but a few people say, yes, that's exactly what I need. That this guy understands my exact situation. He gets it. Then a video that gets 40,000 views and it's just a bunch of people who have no buyer intent. They're just watching Instagram to be entertained and they're not looking to solve a problem. Now, that's the issue a lot of people bump into is they see all these fitness influencers and these creators making all this content and they assume that's what they should be doing as well. But the thing is, running a business on Instagram is a completely different operating system to being a creator or an influencer online. They're two completely different ways of running your social media. And you have to be aware of what is the role of the content that you're creating. It's not just to get attention. It's not to entertain people, right? There's clear phases. And you have to understand that if you're not talking to one particular kind of person in your content, then your content is just going to be completely watered down and people are not going to see you as the superior solution for what they need because you're going to come across like you're just trying to help everyone and people have the luxury of choice online and they're just a few clicks away from finding someone who is the perfect fit for them. So you have to operate in a way that has complete alignment right across the board. Your content strategy revolves around a few things. Who it is you're trying to target, your ideal client persona, which should be one person, by the way, right? Every time you speak to the camera, you should be pretending that it's the same person on the other side of that camera or the phone every time you talk. Next is your offer, right? You know who it is you're targeting and you have an offer that is solving their problems and getting them to the outcome that they desire. And the next thing is your messaging, right? Your positioning. So looking at the landscape of the market, who it is you're in competition with, what your methodology is, your philosophies around getting the result, and anything that doesn't align with what you believe in and what you teach, you should be throwing rocks at those things and explaining to people why your way of doing things is better, shifting those beliefs. And that's what's really going to create gravitational pull around your brand, is if you're able to consistently articulate why you're the best person for one particular thing for one particular person. Now, another thing that people don't take into account is the buyer's journey. So obviously you have all this traffic out there in social media, right? There's billions of users on Instagram all the time. And what I describe as top of funnel is that kind of entry point where your content attracts the right person. They land on your profile, they click follow, and now that's them in your ecosystem, which is what I call middle of funnel. Top of funnel and middle of funnel serve two completely different purposes. Now, I get vanity metrics, likes, follows. It does serve a purpose as a signal because the more attention you get, the more opportunity you have of attracting the right person. But people get carried away with this and it's all they focus on, and then they wonder why they can't sell anything on the back of it. So there has to be a strategy in order to get attention and attract the right people. But the biggest concern is the middle of funnel and the bottom of funnel. People don't know how to take these people in their audience and turn them into clients. People have thousands of followers and they come to me and they say, I have a lead problem. And I look at their account, I look at their followers and wonder why they're not gaining any clients from this, because the people are right there to be sold to. So I would argue it's more of a conversion problem and a selling issue, right? Whether it's they're uncomfortable selling and promoting their program, whatever it may be, there's broken systems inside their ecosystem. Because I've seen coaches with just a few hundred followers who are basically mastering one little segment of the market. They're doing it very well. They're very niche down and they don't struggle to get clients and they can make 10K per month. So let's talk about the buyer's journey. So when someone actually follows you, they have just expressed interest at that point. Now, I don't know if you've heard the term or the metric speed to lead. it's not just a metric to be tracked in ads. It also applies to organic content as well. Now, the moment someone follows you, the longer you leave it without intercepting and being proactive and capitalizing on that moment, the more they're going to forget about you and the less interested they're going to become. The moment they click follow, they're a warm lead. So by you reaching out to them, you can identify why they followed you in the first place and go from there with an appointment send process. Now, that's one strategy, okay? And people don't even do that. And I'm telling you now, if you only rely on referrals or inbound leads to grow your online coaching business, then you're leaving 80% of the money that you could be making on the table. Referrals and inbound leads are a very small percentage. Your content and your warm DM and sales pipeline is where the majority of your money is going to be made. So when it comes to middle of funnel content, your job is basically to, okay, so this person has entered my ecosystem now from one piece of content. They have no idea really who you are, what you do, and how you achieve it. So you're just trying to show them how your methodology works, shift beliefs around their hesitation around why they're not taking action, and ultimately getting them to the point where they're in a position and they have the mindset to take action on the solution. So you need to build trust with them. They need to be familiar with you. They need to know how your methodology works. They need to understand your philosophies around getting the result on how to think. And this is what builds that connection and that kind of authority that's going to put you in their eyes as the leader who can take them to the transformation. So the more narrowed down your content, your social proof, your message, all of this, the easier it's going to be for you, the more clarity you're going to have around what the message needs to be, what you need to be saying, but also for the viewer as well. If they have ultra clarity around all of these things, they know exactly what you do and they know exactly how to take action and what the offer is. It makes it super simple and frictionless for them to actually raise their hand and go down the path into a conversion, into a sales opportunity. So you have to engineer your content in that way, where you're thinking about the psychological triggers that are required in order to take someone from stranger to a client, lead to close time, as I refer to it. And the better you engineer your middle of funnel and handle all these psychological triggers that are required to get someone to that mindset of being ready to take action and to hop on a sales call, then your buyer's journey is going to be as frictionless and as fast as possible. So that leads me on to the kind of last part, which is obviously you're doing all these things, but a lot of people's profiles are not clear at all. So it's kind of twofold, really. Like the message and the content has to be completely aligned with who it is you're targeting, but also your profile has to be super clear as well. It has to be so specific about who it is, what you do, and why they should trust you in order for them to click follow. And everything on your profile, the real estate, the story highlights, the pin posts, has to basically give them a crash course into who you are, why you're in this position now, who you've helped, all this sort of thing, which is going to set you up really well for actually earning the follow. And when you do this well, when you're nurturing people consistently, sending them further down the funnel, ideally to long form content where you can nurture them faster and better. Because if we think of long form, would you rather make 30 reels or would you rather make one 30-minute piece of content? A lot of people are sleeping on YouTube and it's a big mistake. So really, we want to be getting as many people to YouTube as possible, because if they binge watch your videos, that's 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 20 minutes. Now they're in a position where they have a lot of context around all these things about you, your offer, and we're giving them a clear opportunity to take action as well. When people watch a reel, it's a very short space of time and you don't really fully step into their brain. When someone actually grabs a coffee to sit down and watch a YouTube video, they're being nurtured for actually 30 consecutive minutes. And then when you give them the call to action to simply just click the link in the description to book a call, that's often when it happens. And I can tell you from experience and from looking at the data that the people that come from YouTube are the best leads, the close rate is the highest, and they end up being the best clients as well. Now, my philosophy around, or my theory around this is that if someone is actually willing to watch a boring video around solving a problem to get to an outcome, and they're willing to actually sit through a 30-minute video, then that right there is almost like a test of commitment in itself. So these people that go through this route, book a call, they're easier to close and they end up being better clients as well. Clients who are more willing to put in the work as opposed to scouring through short form content looking for a quick fix. So you want to make sure that with pushing people to YouTube, content is fully aligned and that you don't have multiple offers as well. Or honestly, the worst mistake I see is when personal trainers and online fitness coaches have a website, to be honest, right? You click on the website, it's very traditional looking. There's 5 different pages at the top. There's a ton of copywriting and text and information. And that's friction. And what ends up happening is people get analysis paralysis and then they end up just clicking off and leaving the decision to another day. So you want to avoid that at all costs. Now, if you take anything from this video, it's keeping things as simple as possible and as clear as possible, right? Look at the buyer's journey from the point where someone follows you to the point of booking the call. How are they being guided through the funnel? What actions are you taking? What pieces of content are you putting out there in order to attract them in the first place, nurture them, and then giving them enough opportunity to take action where it's absolutely seamless? So, as I said, more leads won't fix a broken journey. So you have to look at your model. You have to look at the steps involved in order to get someone to a call. And you need to look at your positioning and your messaging so it's so narrowed down and ultra clear that it just makes it easy for people. So if you do this, people won't be falling through the cracks, and ultimately your revenue per follower will be much higher, and you'll be able to get more leads and get more sales with less people. See you in the next one.